This is just sad. It's not that the episode is bad. Although it's not great, I can certainly understand the hate. They found a new sphere, which means we have less to fear. It's basically Beauty and the Beast. Hoshi even had a feast. I feel like I've seen this all before in Sub Rosa on Caldos 4. Will Hoshi
You had to look that up.
Will Hoshi enjoy a little manhandle, or will she do not light the candle?
That was a strong ending.
You like that?
Yes.
I'm Justin.
I'm Josh.
And this is From There to Here. Today we're going to be looking at Season 3, Episode 6, Exile. And according to the IMDb, Hoshi Sato is contacted. That's
better.
That'd have been interesting.
She's conducted herself in a bad episode.
Is contacted by a 400-year-old telepathic alien exiled on a planet in the expanse. It actually does on IMDb says exiled on planet.
Okay.
On a planet in the expanse. Shunned by his society because of his abilities, the alien offers to help use his powers to help Enterprise find the Xindi.
And what do we think it's rated? I think it's a low 6 somewhere.
I think it's in the 6s.
Definitely low. Not beneath. Well, what was it we just did that had a 6?
I'd have to go back and look.
What was the one?
Regine, I think.
Oh, right. No. What was before Regine?
I don't know. No, I'm going the wrong direction. Hold on, it's going to take me a minute to find it.
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Well, whatever it was an episode of this season that had a 6 rating, which was the lowest we'd ever had.
Anomaly.
Was it Anomaly?
Oh, well, no. Oh, Extinction.
Extinction was
Extinction was a 6.0.
That's the lowest so far that we've had ever.
Yeah.
In all of these seasons.
Regine was a 6.9.
Which I don't think it's fair, but according to the IMDb.
Yeah, we'll even be on TV.
The IMDb rating so far, with Enterprise, that's the lowest we've had. So what is the rating? I think it's a low 6.2 maybe.
I'm going to say 6.5.
Okay.
It's a 6.8.
Whoa, they were generous with this one. Wow. Okay. This episode sucks. Man, it's bad. I mean, it was fun to watch because it was bad, but I was entertained because it gave me some ammunition to poke at it. But other than that, it was... Anyway, so some trivia. So both Linda Park and executive producer Rick Berman saw Exile as a play on Beauty and the Beast.
No shit.
Really? You think so? And a ripoff of some other things.
Yeah.
Filming began on August 20th, 2003, overlapping with the final day of shooting for the previous episode, Impulse. How about that?
Okay.
A number of sets were created for use in this episode, all of which were created to show Tarquin's home. Was this episode really worthy of having so many sets built for it?
Big ones, too.
Although this was only referred to in the script as an, quote, alien sanctuary, the set designers created an aged, Gothic-inspired alien castle across 5 sets.
Wow.
It certainly didn't seem that big. Set decorator Jim Mees added to this design by filling the areas with further Gothic artifacts and exotic flowers. Michelle Eric Green reviewed Exile for Trek Nation and found that it reminded her of the Voyager episode Alter Ego. I was like, kind of reminded me of that too. That's what I was. That's why I read that part. So this episode is terrible. I don't know how you really felt about it, but I thought it was awful.
I don't think it was terrible.
Okay, interesting. What was it then?
I mean, it was most certainly derivative and, been there, done that. But in isolation, it was okay. It was...
Well, nothing happened that was of any consequence.
No, I say that
they should have called it not Exile, but Detour, because what the hell does that have to do with anything?
Certainly was. I mean, once again, Enterprise has detoured from its A plot and focused on a B plot that doesn't do anything.
Well, no, it's like, let's do Beauty and the Beast, but we're doing but dude, we're doing the Expanse. Oh, we'll throw in something at the end. Like he found something and he gave it to her. But No, just do it. It's fine.
It'll work out. They want to see this.
They want it to be our guest, and we got to do it.
No, honestly, I found myself thinking in some strange way this episode, even though it's derivative and we've seen it before, almost would have worked as an original series episode, like Uhura is captured by some guy, or Nurse Chapel, and
well, that's funny because it also on Wikipedia, it also says that same woman, Michelle Erica Green, she also thought that Tarquin in particular was reminiscent of Flint from the original series episode Requiem for Methuselah.
That, yes,
okay,
that and. It's like
do not light that candle.
And do not light that candle. And Squire of Gothos.
What is the episode? What's do not light that candle? What is that?
Sub Rosa.
Sub Rosa. There you go.
And it's got some Squire of Gothos in there. He's just bored. He wants someone to talk to, And so like there was even though it had been done before on TOS when Sub Rosa came out, which you and I thoroughly enjoy watching Sub Rosa.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
It's
well, no, this episode makes Sub Rosa look like a masterpiece. I mean, come on.
Well, as far as interesting things happening, yes, I did like the set design. It was nice to see Hoshi again. We haven't really seen her do anything in a while, even though. Would you really wear that at some new dude's house? But whatever.
She packed her sexy collection for the planet for some reason. She packed her
Victoria's Secret collection.
Please, no, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Don't say it.
Yeah, no.
Just commit to something. If this is what your episode is going to be about, just do that. Yeah. Because whenever they cut away for the B plot, which should have been the A plot, all about finding the Zindi stuff.
Well, I still don't know what these damn spheres are for.
Well,
I don't get it.
But
I leaned over to you halfway through and said, "Do we ever find out what the spheres are all about?" And you're like, "I don't remember."
I
was like, "I don't remember."
I'm sure we do. I just don't remember. But there was the scene, I don't know, midpoint of the episode where Archer and Trip land on a sphere.
Yeah,
they're on a sphere, right?
Yeah, they land on.
Yeah, they land on a sphere, and then the shuttle's thruster went off, and it was floating around, and then it came crashing down, and you were like, "Is it over? Is that it?
Is that all?
What was that?"
No, it felt shoehorned in there. Like, there's not enough going on here.
Yeah,
we need something,
which is interesting because like it was kind of an interesting thing.
Yes,
but it just kind of cut away from it.
What did they even go there for? What was the point?
I don't know.
What did they get out of landing on it? Like,
I don't remember.
Did they get a sample or something?
They got data readings, I think.
I don't know. I was like,
I don't know.
Why are they? It didn't make any sense.
And
in the end, they find out that there's a billion spheres.
Yeah,
like there's a whole bunch of lines on the graphic. Like, ooh, scary.
Yeah, like so what? Clearly, none of it is harmful. I know it.
I mean, it just makes the floors and walls all
wavy,
wobble. That's it.
I don't mean to say I'm building the episode up to more than what it is.
I hope not, because
I just think that it was mildly entertaining.
Mildly entertaining? It was embarrassing. It was like... I mean,
for me as an audience member watching
let's take Beauty and the Beast and make it crap. Like that's what this episode did. Let's take that really great story and turn it boring.
Well, that's kind of like Enterprise's
thing. Do you remember like in the original Beauty and the Beast in that cartoon, like the clocks and the chairs, they all spoke? Well, in this episode, we're gonna have none of that.
It won't even be amusing accidentally.
It's like, remember all those great songs? Yeah, well, in this episode, we don't have any of those either.
No. There was this, because Beauty and the Beast has been made multiple times.
And remember like how in the Beauty and the Beast, the Beauty falls in love with the Beast? Well, in our episode, she just gets really creeped out by him, and then she leaves.
He's really creepy.
It's really fulfilling.
And he's got some sort of masturbation egg that no one seems to understand.
Yeah.
But...
that they just randomly pulled off the prop truck. Well, that looks like an alien artifact.
Yeah.
Sure.
There was a version of Beauty
and
the Beast
when in the end when she picks it up, she picks it.
Just go ahead and go.
No, she picks it up, right? And I'm like,
smash it.
It looks so like it was. I felt bad for Linda Park. I was like, should we be feeling threatened right now? She's like holding it like a football. I expected her to like, okay, Hail Mary, let's go, and throw it all the way across the room.
It looks like an ornament she got from Things Remembered in the mall.
Yeah, from like Spencer's Gifts or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, I expected to have one of those balls with the energy that, like, you know what I'm talking about? The electricity things that whatever. Anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
Just that there was a version of Beauty and the Beast made, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s. And it had Rebecca De Mornay as...
Was this a TV movie?
I don't know. It was a cheap version of Beauty. Mind you, no connection to the animated at all.
Okay.
But it was... I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw pieces. But it was very dry. And there would be scenes. And this happened multiple times from my memory, where he would have dinner and she'd come and sit down, like she doesn't want to be there, but she'd do it. Mm-hmm. And he would say, "Do you love me yet?" And she would say, No, Beast, I don't. And then they'd go through this charade like every night. And you're like, wow, this is the movie, isn't it? This is what it is. And this is kind of like that, where it's like, we know this is not going to happen.
Guess it was a risky business.
So I know it's strange. Like I'm almost defending it, but I'm not. I mean,
not.
I fully recognize that it not only is it terribly out of place in the context of the greater show at this point, but you know, it's been done before. But like I said, I mean, it's no Rogue Planet. I wasn't falling asleep at least.
I was getting a little groggy during it.
It's just a shame that they've gotten off track again.
Well, you know, when an episode like this, when it, you know, it's bad or goofy when it's straining common sense, and it just takes you out of the episode. It takes you out of the moment. I mean, Hoshi decides to stay on this planet because she wants to help the crew. Fine, but then she's wearing like very revealing clothing, and this alien is clearly interested in her, and he's clearly hiding something. You're like, okay, come on. No one's this naive. Come on. Put it all together now. Come on. Yeah. I mean, at least in Sub Rosa, Crusher was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very suspicious at first, but then he used he
romanced her.
Yeah. You know, he put he
brainwashed her.
The CG effects went into her brain, and you're like, okay, that's why. But now, so right at the top, she's like, "Get the hell away from me," you know. But here she's just like, well, you're not that bad, I guess. You did lie to me. Not that that's suspicious. Right. You didn't show me what you really look like. Not that that's suspicious either. I was like,
And there's dead people buried outside. Not that that's suspicious.
And even Archer is just like, oh yeah, right. Yeah. And even Archer is like, yeah, I'm not leaving you alone down there. And then he leaves her alone down there. Right. It's like, okay, come on. Really? You have to have this lame B plot that goes nowhere just so you can leave her alone on this planet for a few days. And he even said, it seems like he's hiding something. Boy, you think so? Okay.
She should have gone down there with a gun.
Something, yeah. I mean,
something to show that she was prepared for.
And maybe Archer could have given her something. Like they could have had a scene. He's like, here, click this button if you're in trouble, and we'll come back. Yeah. But they didn't do anything like that. Slap a
Meridian patch on her back.
Something. You know? It's like, you know, she could have hidden that somewhere on her very revealing nightgown that she was wearing.
Yeah. Say, fine. I'm going to have Hoshi stay. And to Paul.
And, you know, what was she thinking? You know, where this guy's already like come on to her. And then the next scene, she's reading the book he gave her in a very, very sexy, like, pajamas. And it's like, oh, okay, come on now.
I know.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't realize you shopped at Victoria's Secret, Hoshi. Thank you. It's like, and she doesn't seem bothered at all when he comes in. Did you read my story? Yes. It's very good. Yes, I know.
Touch my antenna.
I knew you'd like it. Okay.
It's right up your alley.
I know. Can you tell I'm telepathic from all my antennae?
It has people speaking languages.
It's like
all night long.
He's just a beast. He has none of the charm of the beast.
Right. No.
You know, it's just, okay. Just put some makeup on him and like, oh. Fine. I mean, which would it have been better if he was just some guy?
It should have ended.
What?
it should have ended, because it ends very like,
and it like putters out,
kind of putters out.
Yeah,
where he sends her one last telepathic message. You know,
he's like, maybe you'll change your mind.
I'll be here.
Yeah, sure.
No, it should have ended like Skin of Evil. You know, where they beam Hoshi out, and you know how Armis turned to the camera and went, Rah! Like it should have ended him going, no, you know.
Yeah.
At least that would have been interesting, like dramatic, you know, dramatically interesting. But yeah.
Well, maybe
she didn't break that egg, did she?
No.
Yeah, so he's going to do this again. She should have broken that egg.
Should have,
because he's luring people.
Well, yeah, but we're supposed to feel sorry for him, and that's
but not sorry enough to where he can do this.
But that's why it doesn't work. Like that's why an episode like Alter Ego, which is a decent Voyager episode, does work because we sympathize with that character. At the end, we feel bad for her. She feels lonely and she just needs to connect with someone, and Tuvok is able to talk her down.
Right,
and you get the feeling like, oh, I think she's crossed a threshold here, not to name another Voyager episode that has nothing to do with this conversation, but she has crossed that line, and now we believe that she would not do something similar, and that she feels guilty about what she did. She can't force someone.
I don't get that impression from this guy.
No, you do get the feeling he's just gonna
he was using his egg that night for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned in brief, you know, like the graves outside, you know, it's very like unsubtly, you know, mentioned. He's like, don't go outside. Suspicious. Like,
don't go into the West Wing.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's not weird, weirdo. And then she goes outside and sees what's obviously graves.
Yeah.
And in that conversation, when they start having, you know, he comes outside and he's immediately like, you should not have come out here. And she's like, why? What's the matter? And she's very like, normal. She's not excited yet, and he is, and she's not feeling fear yet. I'm like, come on, this isn't strange for you yet, Hoshi? Get the hell out of there. But she doesn't, and she continues talking to him, even though this is clearly bad. And then even when it gets worse, and he says like, oh, they were my companions. I had one, and then I had another, and then another, and they died. That's why didn't he say like, that's why I brought you here? Like,
yeah. Okay,
run. Like, that's your fate. He's pointing to it. And she doesn't run. It was bad. Have I made that clear enough?
Yeah, I got it.
It was bad. Well, I mean, you didn't seem to mind it though.
No, you know, honestly, even though, yes, it's not great, I didn't seem to mind it. Now, it means nothing. It's not an episode I would go back and revisit. It was a nothing burger, but I was, you know, entertained enough to get through it. Unlike other episodes that have been boring, or have.
It wasn't boring like Rogue Planet.
Right.
It wasn't as bad as Extinction. No. That was just goofy and dumb. And pointless. I mean, this was pointless too.
Yeah. I mean, at least, even though it was very thinly woven in, at least it did that. They got one step closer to accomplishing their goal, their A plot goal, which, you know, I'll say again, man, you are 6 episodes deep into the season. This should be sole goal right now. Like, if you want us, the audience, to feel the drive to do this, then the episodes need to show that, and they're not, which I simply do not understand why they did this. Yeah. Why they chose to go off book so quickly, more than once.
It's like they had a half a season of an idea and they had to stretch it out.
Well, yeah, but then you would think, well, let's at least start strong or something. But man, I just don't know what they were thinking.
Well, I think I don't know what else to think about this episode. I mean, it's just bad.
Is there any potential writing room things you could do to it to juice it up? Well,
I mean, you did say flip the plots. Make one the A, one the B, but honestly, I don't know if that would help because they're both not very interesting.
Right.
The B plot is barely a B. It's like a G plot.
Yeah,
it's barely anything. It's like They really needed
It was
some
like
filler.
2 scenes worth of material, and
Usually the B plot has a plot that actually means something.
yeah,
For example, there's so many A's and B plots, but like in the DS9 episode, The Ascent, right?
mm-hmm.
The B plot was Nog trying to get into Starfleet, right?
Right.
That had a meaning, even though the two plots weren't connected. It had some momentum and it had a payoff.
Yeah.
Fine. It was a contained story. This has nothing. It's like they land on it and then they take back off. And like, well, what was that for? Like,
I know.
I don't get it. Like, what are these things for? Enough with the mystery already. Give me something. They don't give me anything.
Yeah.
I would have kept the Beauty and the Beast ripoff. If they're going to go with that, then go with it. Make the Beast actually charming.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't.
Yeah. Say what you will about Sub Rosa. I mean, Ronan is charming. You know, he's very commanding.
Well, the actor had a lot to do with that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, of course.
I mean, and he was, human looking.
Yeah, he was at least human looking. Only human again. Human again. That was a deleted song from Beauty and the Beast.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank God it was.
Cut for good reason. It wasn't very good.
Okay.
But yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. There really isn't, writer's room wise, there really isn't too much that can be done other than just scrapping it and complete. Like, the idea is fine. Some lonely guy reaching out and all that, but like it needs a ground up rewrite. Having it be Hoshi is probably the best idea, but
well, why does it work in something like not Alter Ego, but you brought up Skin of Evil? Armis was left there.
Right.
We don't know anything about who these people were. Why? Well, not really a whole lot of why they left him there, other than a brief conversation that Troy has with him.
He's clearly a sadist.
Yeah, but still, right? Other than that brief conversation, we don't know anything really about his backstory.
Right.
Everything about him comes off in his words and his demeanor, in his actions. But that episode works for some reason.
It does.
Well, maybe some people will disagree with that, but I think Skin of Evil works.
I think Armis is kind of terrifying.
Well, he is, but this episode could have worked in the same way. I don't mean in making Tarquin evil, but in his charm. And Beauty and the Beast, the actual story, does that too. We see that in the way he comes off with, even though he's a bit of a brute at first with her.
Yeah.
There's things about him that we like. There's nothing interesting about this character. He comes off as I said, I know I've used this word suspicious. We know he's being deceptive, and that does not help.
No.
We knew that the Beast wasn't hiding anything, not from her, yes, but not from us.
Right.
We knew why he wanted her there.
Right.
But we don't know anything about him. So that's not going to set your Beast-like character off on the right foot, I think.
No, that's a fair way to look at it. He and what we do, the bits of personality we do learn from about him are, creepy. And he invades privacy. It doesn't seem to bother him.
It's intrusive.
It's intrusive. He doesn't listen.
The thing about the cartoon, that's the only thing I keep going back to, is that we get insight into both of their points of view.
Right.
From this, we only get Hoshi's point of view, and that's not helping the story. So we need to see it from his eyes too. We need to know what's going on in his head.
Right.
But we never get that. And the episode's never going to work that way. If there was a few scenes where we get to be alone with him when he's alone and he's maybe talking to himself or writing his memoirs, something, so we can get some idea of what's going on in his head.
Yeah.
That allows us to connect with him, but it didn't do that. There's got to be something tragic about him, and there's nothing tragic yet other than, he was just abandoned there. Well, yeah, no kidding, because you're weird. I know, it's like, that doesn't help.
He could ask for a lift, like drop me off the nearest inhabited planet.
Yeah, like, come on. Yeah,
there's telepaths all over the galaxy.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah,
I was like, haven't you read The Hitchhiker's Guide? To stick your thumb out. Like, come on.
Like, they totally would have picked him up and just dropped him off somewhere.
Yeah, that seems like a big plot hole. Why wouldn't he want to? Unless he likes being
I don't think he does.
alone.
He was put there by his people, for being an outcast. But there's plenty of places he could go where he could go to Risa, he'd get along with everyone just fine.
And it doesn't help that since he's being obviously deceptive,
Yeah,
we don't know. We of course suspect, is he actually being honest even about that?
right.
We don't know.
Right.
And we never really do know.
Yeah,
We see him playing with his shiny little glowing egg, and it's like, okay, that's weird.
yeah.
Okay. And then he probes her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Is it supposed to be charming? Like when he probes her mind and he makes her favorite food? It's like, oh, he replicates pizza and hamburgers. And like, oh, how sweet. Is it?
Yeah, like he just invaded your mind.
I know. And she doesn't seem bothered by it.
No, not until he's using it to deceive her, in a bad way. But, like Ronan, we, the audience, are never made to, we never feel sympathetic for Ronan and that's how it should be, because Ronan is taking advantage and using her for his benefit.
But I believed Ronan, and I think it's because of, what's the actor's name?
Duncan Rygar.
Something because of Duncan Rygar's performance in the end, where he exclaims, "But I loved all of them,
and they
loved me." And I thought, I believe that. I think he did.
But he's still totally selfish.
But he's still,
he's
still using them.
Life.
But he did feel for them. I believed him there, and so I do feel a little sorry for him because he dies.
Right.
But he is still a parasite. I mean, so it's
but this guy, he's doing the same thing, but there's not even the delight that you got watching Duncan Rygar do his thing, because this guy's nowhere near as charming as what's his name?
Who?
Duncan Rygar's character.
Ronan.
So
you've said it like 3 times.
I don't know why I told you that.
It's like, okay.
But he doesn't have anywhere near the charm that Ronan did.
No.
I know.
And it has no charming Irish accents.
I know. It's not set in Irish.
Do not light that candle
On Caldos 4, which, yes, I did have to look up.
I wish Tarquin could have said, "Do not drop that egg." I was like, why are you talking like an Irish person all of a sudden, Tarquin? I don't know. It was, I love seeing, actors when they get to pretend to be a different character while they look like the same character, and that's fun. When it's clearly Archer, clearly not Archer at the end.
Right.
Obviously, from the framing of the shot, from the way he's in the mirror, like, okay, this is totally fake. This is bogus. This is not Archer. And when he's, you get to see Archer not be Archer, like that must have been fun for the actor that day. But it's always so obvious to everyone else watching.
Of course.
It just always strains credibility, It's like it becomes like Spaceballs territory. It's like, I guarantee it. Would I lie? Like, okay, you can drop the act now.
Well, she pretty much wasn't buying it.
No, Hoshi, there's no reason you need to go back to Enterprise. We'll have your stuff sent to you.
Yeah.
Oh, can I say goodbye to my friends? No, I'll pass you regards.
Letter.
We don't do letters in this century. No, it's okay. We do. Yeah. No reason at all for you to see anybody else you've known ever again.
Maybe it would have been more interesting because she had said, "What are you going to do? Are you going to act like you're me and tell Archer that I want to stay?" Maybe they should have done that instead and had her pleading with Archer. "I love this guy. His tentacles and everything. I just love him. I want to stay and communicate with him all day." Just have fun with it at least. Just give a fun scene for us. We know it's going to be BS.
Yeah.
So just have fun with it.
Well, do you want to grade it?
Sure.
Because this, I think
there's nothing else.
No, this episode is just, I want to hear you first because I'm curious because you've been surprising me lately with some of your grades. So
I'm going to give it a C-.
Oof, generous. I'm going to give it a D.
Okay.
This is bad. Very, very bad. And I think embarrassing that this was actually aired on national television. Like I'm serious. Like, and it was written by professional writers. That's embarrassing. Like, what were they thinking?
Yeah. If not that it'll ever happen, but if I ever found myself writing for a TV show, something, whatever, the second we start aping other things like that, obviously, like Deep Space Nine, for example, the Magnificent Ferengi was the Magnificent Seven, but it's so disguised. If it wasn't for the title, you may not even know it. You know what I mean? But this is so clearly Beauty and the Beast. You better really know what you're doing, because you're instantly gonna have your stuff compared to something great. So be very, very careful where you tread. And I wouldn't want to go that route at all.
Yeah, there's an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 that does the same thing called Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, where they're they're not hiding it. They're referencing Casablanca throughout the whole movie. And there's a moment where Raul Julia is in the movie, and he says he's watching Casablanca in the movie itself, and then the robots say, "Oh, never watch a good movie in the middle of your bad movie." It's like, yeah, you can't do that. You're like, you can't break the rules like that. You're like, you got a crappy movie and you're watching a good movie. Okay. I wonder how they got the rights to play that.
It's a very good question.
I don't know.
It's not in the public domain, so
no, that's Warner Brothers, right?
That is actually very odd. I don't know why.
I don't know. Maybe because it's Canadian, they thought they'd get away with it.
Canadians are Canadian.
Canadians are Canadian, or grandfathers, either way, or Alaskan, whatever. So I give it a D. It's a stinker. There's no saving this episode, I don't think, even with writer's room ideas.
No,
I think we could improve upon it.
Yeah, but nothing that makes it worthy of being made. It just needs to be scrapped and moved on from, honestly.
Would you like to hear what Sebastian has to say?
Absolutely.
About Exile? Okay, so...
The only thing it was missing was techno music.
Number one, let's start with something positive. Oh, okay, so...
He's trying.
He's trying, that's true. He goes on... I thought it was refreshing to have an episode without a shootout or a ticking clock. Do you also think they overused these two narrative methods in season 3? A ticking clock.
I don't even feel the ticking clock. That's the problem.
Yeah, I kind of want there to be one, though.
Yes, that's the problem. That they set you up to have one, but they're just lazily getting.
I think it desperately needed a shootout. Something. I mean, they had the thing where they land on the thing.
Yeah.
No, the shuttle spins off in the air, and you're like, okay. They could have used that in an episode, but that meant something. But they used it in an episode that meant nothing. And you're like, well, what was the point in that? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the shuttlecraft felt so bad. It's like, I got to get out of this scene.
If they were gonna derail us from the Xindi plot, if they were committed to doing something else, then this guy towards the end of the episode shows that he can basically do what Nagilum does, where he can put these images in your mind and he makes the ship shut down and all that stuff. Like there's that creepy scene where Troy comes to see Picard when Picard has set self-destruct. And she was like, "This is selfish of you. You shouldn't kill us. This is wrong." And he goes, "No."
She calls him Jean-Luc, and that's what like, throws him off.
Yeah, and he goes,
"It's like, oh, this isn't right. Is very wrong."
And then Data does the same thing. Yes, it's wrong for you to kill us. She goes, "This is
wrong for you to force us.
All of you, this is wrong." But it gets that creep factor in.
Yeah,
and all of those little illusions that they're all seeing, and it makes it fun. It makes it interesting. So if this guy has demonstrated this ability, then have your Beauty and the Beast plot going on down there, but then have the cool stuff happening on the ship where they're all being deceived to keep from getting down to Hoshi. Just anything to make it interesting. Yeah. And unfortunately they did none of that.
Yes. He goes on, I wonder if you see this as strictly as I do. I think the whole story is a rape fantasy. Okay.
That's a bold way to put it. I don't disagree, but
no, I mean, I
hadn't thought about it like that.
No, I didn't use it in that phrase.
Yeah, maybe that's the nail on the coffin as far as why this doesn't work.
He goes on, and obviously the producers want to turn the viewers into voyeurs of that fantasy. Well, I mean, watching anything, you're being voyeuristic. I mean, movies, TV, plays. It's voyeurism.
I see what he means, but I don't think
Yes, I know what
that
he meant.
in any way was like an intent.
No. Why else would Hoshi wear high heels and a short dress if she knew she's spending the night at the cold castle with the 400-year-old alien creep? Yeah, no kid. Yeah. Well, okay.
I'm finding it actually very difficult to fight what he's saying because when you put it like that, like maybe subconsciously someone.
You mean like it's her fantasy, or whose fantasy?
What I think I don't want to explore what I think this means because like I'm that guy then.
Well, you might as well.
What I think he's trying to say, as far as it being a rape fantasy, is that Tarquin is the rapist, and the fantasy is that he's making her like it, and she wants it, and she's playing with it.
Yeah,
and I mean, I never thought of the episode that way until he put it that way. But
because she seems to be enjoying him to some degree.
Well, she's like,
and it's odd because there's nothing charming about him at all.
She's not flirting with him or anything like that. But
she finds some of him interesting, clearly, from the way that she's acting. I mean, she's reading his book, and
I know.
She doesn't seem scared when he just walks into her room.
Like he's going to romance her with all this creepy crap,
right?
And it's almost
with his egg from Spencer's
because
Gifts.
I've been I recently rewatched. I was doing an edit of Batman Returns, and I enjoyed the moment when Catwoman and Penguin are talking, and they think they just like really screwed Batman's image and all of that, and he's like, "All right, we did it," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I feel like I want a catnip or something like that," and he goes, "How about you and me go back to my place and we do this?" Da, 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 da. And she goes, "Ugh, I wouldn't touch you to scratch you." Yeah. And this is after she was kind of playing with him, flirting with him to get him to do what she wanted.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "You lousy minx, you gave out all the signals.
Yeah.
I don't think I like you anymore." And he throws his umbrella up and chokes her and has her taken away.
Yeah, I remember.
That was almost... I feel like that's what Tarquin should have been. And you were sending out all the signals. Oh, okay. Like I thought you were game. Okay. But that would have been interesting, and that didn't happen. Sadly, I think he's really kind of on to something here, even if it was extremely not intentional. I feel like that's inadvertently.
I don't think it was intentional.
No, I don't. But I think he's darn right. I think that's what they've created. Maybe that's why it doesn't sit well with people.
Yeah, because Beauty and the Beast wasn't that.
No. And Sub Rosa very much was that, but it embraced it, This, like he said, it's like this fantasy. He wants her to consciously want it, whereas Ronin makes you think you want it, which is different, Yeah, damn. Really think he's hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Sadly.
Well, let's see what else he says. So, in real life, she would have chosen an outfit in which she were able to run and fight. Seeing her in that "oh, I am so lost and innocent" outfit feels like the showrunners are telling me, come on, you want to see that girl getting abused as well, don't you? And I think that's disgusting. Best regards, Sebastian. So, my mind never strayed into that territory because I found the whole episode so absurd. Like I said, it strains credulity and common sense when credibility, not credulity, strains credibility and common sense, because she, just like Sebastian pointed out, she would not be wearing that stuff.
Right. And
she would come down armed, like you said. Anything. It does not make any sense. A very attractive girl in this guy's house, and she's wearing these very revealing clothes, and it's just no, and none of it. No, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you understood why Belle was there. That made sense.
Yeah.
And why she really needs to be there, it's not good enough of a reason.
And I gotta say, even though yes, they're driven to get to the Xindi, world-ending stuff, I don't see Archer leaving her there.
No.
He wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If it was to Paul, I could kind of buy it, because Hoshi is like our little sister, whereas to Paul she's a grown woman. She can take care of herself, but you don't feel the threat for T'Pol that you do for Hoshi, which is obviously why they made it Hoshi. But
I did not see the way he saw this, Sebastian. When I say that, I mean Sebastian, where he says, "Come on, you want to see that girl getting abused as well, don't you?" I mean, he says, "I think that's disgusting." I do too. I don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think they were doing that,
but I think they ended up doing it
unintentionally. I get you're saying that.
Yeah.
That thought never crossed my mind.
Mine either. But a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
It's kind of makes me feel dirty and like I never want to look at this episode again.
Well, speaking of which, like I've told you when we were watching it, like I remembered nothing but the title.
Yeah.
And the title told me to stay away. Like I never wanted to go back to it again because I remembered nothing about it.
Right.
And I can see why, because nothing of significance happens.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Extinction. Like nothing important happens in that episode. Same thing with Rogue Planet. I can't remember. What was that about? What happened? I don't remember.
Neither do I.
Like it was a planet that was rogue and they were
And it
on
was a
it.
planet.
That's all I remember. Nothing happened in there.
And it was dark.
And it was very dark. Yeah. All the time. It was nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more I think about this episode, the worse it becomes. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Was Sebastian's the only comment we had?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I wish there were more.
Yeah.
Because I think this episode gives us plenty of ammunition. Not just us, but I mean everyone else too who's seen it.
I know. I agree.
Hopefully after the fact, maybe by next week we'll get some emails about it. I'd like to hear other people's thoughts if they thought like Sebastian did. I don't know. Because I definitely did not see it from that angle, but unintentionally, yes, maybe some people are. Ugh, okay, well,
I know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Should not be a Star Trek episode. Definitely not. No. So what do we have coming up next week?
The shipment.
The shipment.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
My instincts say this is where the Xindi stuff really picks up.
What
I
happens?
don't know why.
What are the plot?
I don't know. They find a shipment
of
things.
I'm gonna have to
lead
wait
them to the Xindi
to next week.
I think it's them tracking a shipment that will lead them to the Xindi.
That title does not ring a bell, so something tells me this is not going to be a good one.
Well, we'll find out.
Like we knew going into this one that it was going to be crap.
But
at least it was slightly entertaining crap because it was bad in a unique way. So, but as far as the shipment goes, no, nothing's coming to mind.
I believe it's a decent episode.
I certainly hope so. Like a B,
maybe
B territory.
Maybe we'll see.
Okay, well, see you in the next one.
Yep,
in the shipment.
Do not light the candle.